Hi, my name is Danny. I am a licensed esthetician and skin texture expert, and I have over 30 years of experience, and I'm also the creator of Skin Harmonics and the creator of the regenerative skin process, which creates skin that is self-purifying, self-renewing, and slow to age. And today we're going to talk about hyperpigmentation, and a little more specifically, like, is my hyperpigmentation coming or going? That's kind of a tricky topic, and the only way to really know if your hyperpigmentation is coming or going, and let's face it, we want it to go, is that you're considering how much time that you're spending in the sun. Because if you are spending a lot of time in the sun, I can just guarantee you that your hyperpigmentation is absolutely coming. And that the next is that you're measuring your skin time, your sun time. You're taking that into account, because again, this is the biggest factor with how pigment is gonna come or go. And I have faded skin with seasonal sun workers, like people that are working on the ski slopes, people that are working for like land restoration out, trail caretaking. So it's something that we can overcome when we work seasonally with skin with products. That might be a little bit more detailed than I can get into in this video, but the biggest thing, so don't think that because you can't completely get yourself out of the sun, it's not possible. Like, it is, it's just we have to at least reduce it. And so that's something to keep in mind. Another factor when it comes to if your pigment is coming or going is hormonal shifts. This is huge for us ladies as we move from teenage years to our 20s, to our 30s, to our 50s, and in through menopause. This is definitely a factor with hyperpigmentation, because there's something called melasma, and that's not exactly the same as full-blown pigment that's acquired during sun exposure. That's when it has to do with hormonal shifts. So this would also include melasma. Another thing to take into consideration is abrasions and extractions. This includes that. So anytime there's a puncture or a trauma to the skin is at risk to hyperpigment. And also, there's a list of all of these acid mantle disruptors. And many of you know this list, but everything on this list, glycolic, lactic, salicylic acids, traditional retinol, benzoyl peroxide, witch hazel, essential oils, except for a very, very few, including rose, rubbing alcohol. And I think we've come a long way that most of us aren't using rubbing alcohol on our skin anymore, but you'd be surprised. This is like an old school idea that's completely obsolete, but rubbing alcohol absolutely will bring on pigment when it's combined with the sun. So it's not like any one of these things directly causes hyperpigmentation, but these are the list of things that will disrupt our acid mantle. And anytime our acid mantle is disrupted, guess what? You're going to get sun sensitization, and along with that will often come, just on the heels of that will come the hyperpigmentation. So this also includes microdermabrasion, hydrofacials, and microneedling, anything that is going to be exfoliating for our skin. Now, there is a type of exfoliation that does not cause this, and we're going to get to that later. And so, like I mentioned before, traditional retinol will cause a sun sensitization, and oil-free moisturizers. They do not provide any type of moisturizing ability at all, and I think they should be either renamed as something else or just completely removed from the industry altogether. Oil-free moisturizers are one of the things that are contributing to how our acid mantle is being disrupted, or never even there in the first place. And then next is medications. So a lot of medications these days cause sun sensitivity. And so that's something to keep in mind. If you are on a medication that you can't get off that causes sun sensitivity, we can still fade the pigment on your skin, but it's just another layer of what we have to be aware of, and another way that we have to find a way to reduce the UV exposure for your skin. And of course, stress. Stress affects everything, and this is something that will absolutely cause our skin to hyperpigment. These blood sugar spikes, cortisol, is very much affected to how our whole body reacts to sun. And of course, digestive issues plays a big role, and all of these things are absolutely connected. And the bottom line is that it's conventional skincare, conventional acne protocols, and conventional anti-aging skincare have zero respect for our acid mantle and will cause sun sensitivities and dermal thinning over time. And so one of the things to really watch out for when it comes to is my hyperpigmentation coming or going is getting in this toxic loop of rebound hyperpigmentation. And this is when we're in our 20s, our 30s, we're getting spots because of, all these things we listed. And then we go in and we try to correct it with conventional skincare. And it might fade for the first season, and then it comes back the following season and successive seasons with a vengeance, and we end up with skin that is triply, doubly, quadruply more pigmented than where we began. And this is called rebound hyperpigmentation, because those very procedures and products create this short-term gain, but then create this much larger imbalance with our skin that it starts to lose the hyperpigmentation the long game of that. So what do we do, right? These are all the things that will get our pigment into trouble. And this is especially true for melanin-rich skin. To me, it's outrageous that melanin-rich skin is somehow still being advertised to and still being pushed these procedures and products on, because melanin-rich skin is much easier to disrupt the pigment balance because there's more of it. So what to do? What can we do? Well, number one, decrease or stop your sun exposure. And this is what a little nuance that gets lost. It's for our face. We need vitamin D for our whole bodies, and we can use other parts of our bodies to synthesize and then make our own vitamin D, our stomachs, our backsides, all of that we can expose and get that really healthy amount of vitamin D. And it's really also important that our eyes are getting, that's one of the biggest ways that our body is signaled to make vitamin D. And so in the morning and late in the evening, we can do that sun gazing and being out in the sun when it's not at peak hours. And we can completely protect our faces, like wear sunscreen, cover your face. Like I have a little sunny window where I lay in and I cover my whole décolleté, my chest, my neck, and my face, and let that beautiful sunlight hit the rest of my body. So but for our face and our hands and our neck and our décolleté, where these are high exposure areas anyways, like these are areas that are going to get 2 and 3 times its lifetime of sun exposure, which will decrease collagen in volume on our skin, not only create sunspots, like we must just cover it. But we do have to find a way to decrease or stop this sun exposure. And the next thing is to participate in warm water cleansing. People are always shocked, like, how could warm water remove all the things? And it does. 9 out of 10 times, it absolutely removes everything that needs to go. And if you're wearing, a lot of sunscreen and a lot of intense makeup, then yeah, some minimal cleansing with a gentle cleanser at night only. And that's how you can cleanse your skin. I mean, most people are still cleansing their skin twice a day with acidic cleansers, aggressive cleansers, trying to think they're going to remove impurities and clean their skin, and it's just all like completely obsolete thinking, and it sabotages our long-term skin health. And the next thing is to just, go back to these basics. It's something that I'm talking about a lot. I know in every newsletter talk, I'm all about returning to this care because it really is this simple. Using the true hydrating mist, getting a nutritive serum in, and your barrier restoration, which is lamina, or one of the other barrier creams that I sell. And for when we're working with pigment, we have to go into corrective mode and like amp up our holistic actives. And so that means Super Feast. Super Feast is way too strong to use in the morning, so just don't. But at night, we can get this really, really strong dose of dermal nutrients that will really start to amp up our skin's ability to make new skin cells. Now, Feast is fantastic too. Feast is corrective as well at night, but don't forget about Super Feast. It's a super serum. And then here I've listed all of my other holistic actives, which is the new LGR6 biopeptide that I'm selling. It's phenomenal for increasing cell turnover. And then niacinamide powder, which it works with vitamin B. It's this different way. It doesn't work with cell turnover, but it has this special ability to kind of fade the spots as they're traveling up through our skin before they leave. And I'll touch on this later, but these sunspots get darker as they're leaving our skin. And so the niacinamide powder goes a long way with that. And also I have a UV blocking serum, and this is not mine. I've curated. The Skin Harmonics line is what it is. It's all with my Skin Harmonics label, but I've curated and I've cherry picked products that are really, really useful. And this UV blocking serum from Osmosis is phenomenal for blocking UV rays. And then, this other active that I sell, Bright, which is mine. This is a very, very potent vitamin C powder that's clean, and that's only ever used at night. So the key to correcting hyperpigmentation is using the mist, the Fortify, a barrier in the morning, keeping it really simple, slipping in that UV blocking serum that is for morning application. But everything else I've mentioned is the Super Feast and all of those niacinamide powder. That all happens at night. And of course, like I just mentioned, I have all these different barrier creams. Nomad is fantastic, Unity, Lamina. There is Truce and Trinity. Those are the chocolate and green tea versions of Unity. All of these make excellent barrier creams, and it really just boils down to preference and smell and texture. But I don't sell an oil-free moisturizer, that's for sure. All of my moisturizers are very thick and dense because that's the only way to trap water in our skin. And let's talk about exfoliation here with Revive. It's just something that will disrupt pigment so quickly is when our skin is overexfoliated. And so I've developed this moisturizing exfoliation pack called Revive, where it eats dead skin cells. It does not overexfoliate, and it's very hydrating. It supports this softening and this permeability that we're trying to build back into our skin, so that not only all of the micro subsurface blockages can leave our skin, but this pigment can travel easier up through our skin that's soft, and these pigment can desquamate, can flake, can just slough off naturally. But having a good, not too intense exfoliator helps tremendously, and this is Revive. And this is used once or twice at the most a month. And this is the kicker when it comes to, is your hyperpigmentation coming or going? It depends on if you're doing all of these things, and it looks worse before it looks better. I'm going to say that again. It oxidizes and it looks much darker and worse before it leaves your skin. And this is the critical point where people stop protocols because they think it's getting worse and don't make it to the finish line. And this is also the critical point where conventional skincare providers will say, let's do more, which is the beginning of that hyperpigmentation rebound cycle, because that is what's creating this in the first place, or what's aggravating it in the first place. And so this is where we have to just really lean in to right practices and to see it all the way to the finish line. And this is where skin listening comes in. This is where what we're listening for is our skin inflamed? Because if it is, we need to back off and do less actives at night. And what we're going for is this sweet spot where our skin is stimulated with new skin cells, but it's not irritated, and and on the flip side, it's not bored. That means that, for some people, they actually really do have to kick up to super feast to get to that tipping point where their skin will start to make new skin cells. And so we want to really listen and pay attention to this sweet spot, which is your skin isn't overstimulated, and it's not irritated. It's perfectly stimulated at that sweet spot, and it's not bored. So something to contemplate, because our skin does communicate by showing redness or looking kind of meh or blah, I call it. These are all the way that our skin communicates, and we can listen to it. And so it's all about this long game. And this is where we just have to lean into repacking our origin set. The bulk refills last a really, really surprisingly long time. And we just have to go the distance and just stick with these basics. And along the way, we're just adhering to these right practices, everything that I just listed, and then we sit back and we relax. And this lady in the boat, we're gonna say that she is going out in late hours. She's not in peak hours. She has her sunscreen on, and she's only going out in this boat for a few minutes. And you just sit back and you relax. You enjoy the ride. You smell the roses, and realistically, it can take 3 to 6 months to begin to get that fading with hyperpigmentation. And if skin has been over procedured and in this rebound, this really vicious rebound hyperpigmentation cycle, it could take 1 to 3 years. But it is completely possible, and I've done it, and I've helped many, many clients do this. It does take consistency and adhering to these right practices. And that's really what it boils down to. Is your hyperpigmentation coming or going? Well, it depends entirely on everything that we just talked about in this video. And so I think that's it. Again, this is Danny with Skin Harmonics, the creator of the regenerative skin process and the licensed esthetician, skin texture expert. I'm bringing over 30 years of experience to your skin. And I hope that this made sense, made some sense about this hyperpigmentation riddle. And also, I want to invite you each to come see me in Summerland. I'll be there soon. I'm giving sessions July 6th through July 14th in Summerland, California. And otherwise, I'm in Boulder, Colorado. And I'm going to be sending out another email to remind you, but we're having a huge party at my office where I'm renting in Louisville, Colorado, which is like 10 minutes from Boulder. And my office mate is celebrating their 10 years in business. There's going to be live music, wine, a raffle. I'm giving away lip balms, Vanilla Rose lip balms. And it's just going to be a fantastic time. So come see me at these places. I hope to see you there. And I will see you each next time.